Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Signal 11 Outdoors. Today we have two special guests coming in from Hillsdale, Michigan. This is Troy Sandy Jr. and Erin Condon. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Where are we coming from, Troy? Is this your business?
Yes, this is my office right here in Hillsdale, Michigan. This is where we operate at.
Cool. All right. Very good. To let people know, I've gotten to know Troy a little bit and Aaron a little bit, really not in person, but just through this great thing we call the internet and the wonderful thing we all call our sport and our love of hunting. So with that being said, we're here today to talk about a couple different things. I think we're going to start off with Troy's opening day in Michigan buck. It's quite a buck. I'll throw some photos up, whatever Troy sends me or Aaron sends me. I'll throw them up along the way. But I'd like to get right into it, and then I got a bunch of questions for you guys, and I'm sure you may have a couple questions too. So, Troy, if you don't mind, take us right into your hunt, what you went through, and how things went down is what we're here. It's what we want to hear today.
Yeah, absolutely. So the deer that I shot, we had on camera all preseason. Dad had actually sent me a bunch of pictures. He likes my tree stand a little bit. And so he actually had seen that buck in person. Opening day, I'm so busy here at my office nonstop. I wasn't actually going to go out. I really was not. And a buddy had shot a nice buck. And I said, okay, that's it. Change everything. So I told my guys here at the shop, I said, I'm out. I'm leaving at 2 o'clock. I'm going to the tree stand. And we got in the stand and we had some nice bucks coming in. And I looked over and all of a sudden he walked in and you could tell he's just a big, mature whitetail. And I'm very picky on my bucks and I knew he was a shooter. So he'd come in and he was eating some of our stuff and that leg just would not go forward. And I sat there and I sat there and I sat there. I'm like, come on. So eventually he did, and I shot it. And I'm telling you right now, Steve, he went 10 yards and hit the ground. So I got another bolt. I use a Raven crossbow. Some guys make fun of me. I really don't care. Rack that one in there. And all of a sudden, other really bucks, real nice ones, I wanted to shoot. But I didn't want to tag out in Michigan on the first day. You know, something about going in the fall in the rut, and you never know what's coming in. So it was a true blessing. And I had my dad there to get it in the truck and then into the shop, actually, because we got them right here at the shop. We do. You know, we got the
Right.
hose, we make it clean, we do all that stuff. But
Right.
what a true blessing. Actually, I've never shot in a 12 point in my life. The biggest I've gotten is a 10 point. So it was very cool.
Okay. So this is your personal best right now.
Yes, it is. As in point wise, I wouldn't say score wise. I got a 10 point. I was at Drone Country Markwood, Dale Tucker from Michigan Deer Hunters. And we're obviously part of Michigan Deer Hunters the other day promoting the butthole here in Michigan, which is the biggest one in the world. And they were showing me my rack from last year, my 10 point. And he's by far the biggest I've ever gotten.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's awesome to hear that your dad was there to help you out. And being I follow you guys and I kind of see what you guys are up to when I watch how everything goes down. And I follow a ton of hunters all over the country. I mean, a lot of them are my customers and some of them aren't. They're just people I got to know. But it was cool watching you guys with the buck down thing and then your dad's going, son, I'm on my way. I mean, on his page, I love that. That's
He's
awesome
my
stuff,
best
man. That's
friend.
what it's all.
He's my best
Yeah.
friend.
And you talked to me and you were like, just a picture. And I'm like, you asshole.
Yeah, my dad, I mean, everything we do in the hunting world, he raised me as a kid driving out to Dexter, Michigan off of 94 and Baker Road. And we used to hunt out of we call it the shit house blind because it's an old outhouse, you know. And I had this little pee hole right there. It was like a bullet hole. And I would look through it and I would tell him this and that. And the one time he shot this buck, they didn't even watch it. It was like a little 6 point, whatever. And that's great. But I started crying when he told me he wasn't going to shoot it. So he shot it anyways, and I walked up like I was Elmer Fudd with my BB gun, and he goes, shoot him, boom, you know, BB gun, you know, I can't even put it in words with my dad.
I think it's called a
Yeah.
glory hole.
It's almost like one, but yes. But my dad was, he was literally hunting the whole time, and as a child, I'd be 3 years old with toy trucks in the dirt of the outhouse, playing in the ground and hunting with them. And then I always tell this story. The farmer, Eddie Edgar, on 80 acres, he would bring his tractor out there and pick it up, and we would gut it right there. And my hands would be freezing. So I put my hands inside the deer as a kid, whatever. And we respected that animal and everything else. But the tradition goes on, and I listened to Fred Bear on the way to Dexter, Michigan, because we grew up in Metro Detroit area. It was very special. And then, hanging out with Ted and meeting you now and everything like that, it's just a true blessing.
Yeah, likewise. I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's funny because we're so many miles away, and the things that you're talking about is shared by so many people. And for the people who can't share all the time with their dad, like you're doing, I mean, I think it's just fantastic. I do it with my son. I got my son into it he was in the stand. Actually, my daughters too. They were in the stand with me before they even had licenses, and witnessed everything and learned. So there's so many people all over the country that do the same thing that the three of us do, including like listening to Fred Bear on the drive to your stand early in the morning. I mean, it's so cool. We're all lucky that we had somebody get us into this lifestyle. And I think we all agree that we have to pass it on to somebody else. It doesn't necessarily have to be a kid. It could be even an adult that's not really into it yet, or doesn't, maybe they're bird hunters and that's all. They never went after a deer before. And I think no matter what you're doing, it's great. But I love hearing and watching you and your dad, especially like this year, was really cool to watch that whole thing go down.
Those are core memories that we all have and will continue to have and make with, me and my dad, you and your dad.
Yeah.
So, and our family members and our significant others.
The first person you call is dad as soon as you shoot one, or if he's over there, this or that. But it just goes so deep into that. And then, like you were saying, some guys are bird hunting, or adults who have never even hunted. I've gotten friends out of Metro Detroit into hunting because they follow me on Facebook and all my stuff. And then I kind of give them the realm of it, invite them out here to Hillsdale, and they hunt, and they just are addicted now. It's so important. And it's conservation. Yeah. It's more than just shooting a deer. It's the camaraderie, the deer camps, the stories, the traditions, the bonfires. I mean, just so much more to it. So we're very blessed. It's such an underrated sport, and I can't promote it more.
Yeah, and
yes, absolutely. That's a good point, Aaron.
The respect you have
respecting that animal
for the animal.
Yes.
And nourishing your body, and
Yeah.
such a lean meat, and it's so great for you. And I think that's huge,
Yeah.
especially in conservation.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, and
here in Michigan, not to interrupt you, Steve. You drive down 94, you can count 80 dead deer on the side of the road. You need that conservation here in Michigan. You need to shoot the does. You got to shoot bucks. And everyone's got their preference on a buck, but shoot the does. We have so many. I mean, I've just hit 2 or 3 deer recently. Right. It's insane here in Michigan. I actually had somebody recently, Ted just got off of a tour, and we were blessed to be with him on that. He was from, God, I forgot what state he was from, but he had never seen nothing like this. East Coast guy. And he goes, dude, that's a dead deer. That's a dead deer. That's a dead deer. I go, that's Michigan. That's why our insurance rates are so high.
That's right. Well, we travel Route 80. I mean, Route 80 goes from East Coast to West Coast, or West to East, whatever way you want to say where it started. But we're the same way. We and I want to get back to Facebook. I'm going to mention something in a minute, but we'll be on the different hunting groups, and I'm even on the Michigan group that you guys are involved in. I love that group. I'm not into a whole lot of groups from different states, but because of my business, I did start to look at these other states, and we all share the same kind of camaraderie and tradition and all of that stuff. But it's really cool to see the different. There's definitely some differences throughout the country as far as whitetail hunting goes, and the thing is, you can learn so much from following these other groups. But I just want to mention real quick the Route 80 thing. We see the dead deer, and we all talk like, "Hey, it's kicking in." It's kicking in. We're saying it. But the thing I wanted to mention is, Facebook and all the social media always gets a really bad rap, and we can all understand why. But I will say it's because of Facebook and stuff that I got to know people like yourself. My wife says to me all the time when I'll say, yeah, my friend, she goes, who do you have a podcast tonight with? I said, oh, my friend Troy Sandy's going to be on. I think Aaron's going to be on. He's like, my wife will be like, who the hell? What friends? You call them friends? You don't even know them. I'm like, you know what? I kind of do know them. You get to
In the
know each
hunting
other, and I
world, we're
mean,
all friends.
Yeah.
We're all friends in the hunting world.
yes,
That's what makes it so special. And people that don't hunt don't understand it, and I
yes,
try to introduce them to that.
Going back to the different I mean sizes in whitetail, as someone who grew up in Florida and Louisiana, ours were significantly smaller than
Just a wee bit.
uh
Just a wee
up in
bit.
I look in the field in Michigan, I'm like, holy shit. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the necks during rut,
Yeah.
I mean, they are tanks.
Well,
Yours was a tank.
yeah.
that buck I shot opening night, I'm telling you right now, he was in rut. Even my dad said something about it.
You had that
He,
big full neck.
he was huge, and then his glands were open. The smell of them, I said, and I had
Yep.
bucks fight right in front of me. October
Yeah.
1st in Michigan. It was unbelievable.
And obviously, believe you. The main reason I believe you is because I know you know what you're talking about. That's the number one reason. But the second reason is you guys are probably a couple degrees colder than us. Things are a little bit different there. Um, and the buck to doe ratio is definitely different there. And we just started to notice it. So you shot it what, a week ago, I guess it was, or the first?
Yeah. October 1st, 7 days. Yep. 7
Yeah,
days
so you
ago. It's
guys
October
opened on the
7th.
first. Okay. We
Yep.
opened on the fourth. And we are talking about it today with my friends. Everybody's got their cell cams out and stuff. My friends reached out to me and say, wow, we had the moon last night, and
Oh, it's
and people said to me this morning, man, they're moving. They're really starting to move. And I got to be honest with you, I think it was like almost 80 degrees today. But they still rut regardless of the temperature. They rut the same time
yeah.
every year.
Oh,
And
80
it's
degrees
just
in New
the
Jersey today.
movement has started.
Yeah.
Our movement, I bet you tomorrow, Michigan, we're gonna see a lot because we have a huge temp drop. I'm gonna be out in the morning.
I'm
I
going
don't
out
know
in
if
the
you're gonna get out in
morning.
the
I'm
morning.
gonna do whatever I have to be out there. I would have been out there tonight, but I had the pleasure of hanging out with you, Steve. So
Yeah.
the temperature went from we were like basically 90 degrees the last week, and then now it's dropping off. The lows in the 30s. I got to go to my northern Michigan cabin and close it down for the winter
Oh yeah.
because I'm afraid the pipes are going to freeze up there at 29 degrees. So we're going
So,
to see a lot of big buck shot here in Michigan the next 4 to 5 days.
right. Very cool. Now, Aaron, fill us in. You put something in the freezer already?
I did, yeah. So I went out for antlerless weekend, and got a nice big doe. You got a picture of that
Yep,
one.
yep, beautiful.
She was, yep. So
See, I got no problem shooting a
it
doe or
was,
whatever. I get that same excitement over a buck. It's the same. I'll be shaking when I finally decide I'm going to shoot a doe. I'm shaking.
I
Yeah.
mean, as a mom, as a farmer, it's important to me to have that in my freezer. That's
Yeah.
how we grew up, was shooting what we ate during the winter. So
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
Now,
Steve,
do
another thing
you?
I wanted to ask you, I have a very, very good buddy. Me, him, Ted, and my dad, all of us had lunch last year. His name is Jerry Slade. He owns Michigan Whitetail Properties, one of the nicest guys on the planet. We got your right here that I use, the Ted Nugent,
No.
Wayne Gang product here.
Yes, there
Um,
it is. Love
he
it.
was wondering if you had free rut stuff, like something that you could use right now, maybe explain it a little bit. And maybe I can, after this, get some from you because he's heading out to Kansas with his
your
two.
freezer filler, right?
Yeah.
Your freezer
Yes.
filler was
Yes.
free rut.
Yeah.
And
Okay. And yeah,
yes,
he's heading to
correct.
Kansas here about 2 to 3 weeks. He just went through some serious
Heart
surgeries.
issue.
Yeah. Heart issues, heart attacks, back to back.
Oof,
And he's going with his son in laws. So, but he was hoping I could get some from you before he leaves. So,
Well,
definitely.
and
oh yeah, okay,
I could always give him
yeah.
mine, and
But if you want to explain that a little bit,
Yeah, I will. And yeah, Aaron, if Aaron wants to hand it over, I can replenish it. Now I'll tell you real quick. So with basically the products I have, and I'll bring up Ted's products too because I make Ted's products as well, and I actually am the one that actually sells Ted stuff for Ted. So everything can be picked up on my website. But the point is that Ted and I have a product. His is the we both have a dough and heat product. Okay, we both have a pre rut or a post rut product. Ted has something called Gonzo juice, which is very similar to what I have. It's called freezer filler. And the funny thing is, I'll go backwards for a minute. When Ted and I first, before I made anything for Ted, he was using my products and we spoke. And one of the things we talked about when we decided to make some products with Ted's name on it, I wanted them to be unique to Ted, and Ted wanted them to be unique. Ted did say to me, I want them to work. I said, well, we're going to make sure they work. So what we did is I actually tweaked if you want to call them recipes, I tweaked the recipes a little bit because I wanted Ted's stuff to be actually Ted's stuff. So we talked about things, came up with something. He has used it. He's tested it. Now he uses it kind of religiously. But yeah, his products are awesome products, as are mine. I mean, I'm biased because I make them, but he will tell you that they work, and I'll tell you that they work. And the thousands of people that buy them from us, it's not magic. It's just a tool in the toolbox. But the product that will get to your friend is going to probably be a bottle of Gonzo juice and a bottle of freezer filler. And then the buck scent, our dominant buck, that's something that really people underutilize, buck scent. I mean, the estrus, we all know we like to use that from Halloween through the first 2 weeks of November.
Right,
But
right.
the buck scent is probably the most underutilized scent. It's a great trailing scent. Bucks are more apt to move because of another buck than they are because of the girls. Okay. Because they are so worried about a
Exactly.
dominant buck in their area. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll get your buddy what he needs to hopefully be successful out there.
Well, we very much appreciate that. And it's funny you brought up that story. So the Gonzo juice, I was in the stand last year and the wind was blowing over my left like this. So I had a buck that was walking through the pines going this way and the wind's blowing this way. And I had the Gonzo. So I really wanted to test your product. Swear to God, I was like, let's see how real this stuff is. I go with this, it blows right to that buck. I was talking about it earlier with somebody. That buck stopped and came right to me. I started texting Ted about it. I sent him a picture. I said, dude, it really works. It was unbelievable.
Well, like you said, he wouldn't sell a product. You wouldn't sell a product if it's not working, and you have the customer base
Right.
saying
Yes.
that it
Yeah.
absolutely does. So it speaks for itself.
Yeah. But there's a lot of guys out there that will sell products that they don't care. They're out there to make a dollar. You're in the woods, you love what you do, and you believe in what you do. And that is special in itself right there.
Yes. I do not hunt without my scent on me. I have my scent with me. I make 5 different scents. I have one of them on me all the time. And I'll tell you real quick. I started out. I'm in my 19th year now doing what I do. I was a professional firefighter for 26 years. The deer lure thing was something I started for myself because I wanted a little bit of a better mousetrap than was out there. And I grew up with a grandfather that we not only did we trap, we trapped basically to keep the rodents out of the chicken coops and stuff, but we built the traps. My grandfather taught me all this stuff as a kid. We were building basically have-a-hearts traps, and we were making the scent to draw the animals in there. And that's kind of where I learned about tincturing and all this other stuff. So what I'm getting at is I've been doing it 19 years, and I really never advertised because I was a professional firefighter. So the hobby part of it was it just grew from grassroots, word of mouth, different people. And even today, I barely ever advertise. I met Ted through him using it and needing it and reaching out to me. And we've been friends for quite a few years now. But the point is that you're right. I mean, I live by this stuff. I make this stuff and I utilize this stuff. It's really not about making a buck. I mean, the making a buck part of it, no pun intended, making a dollar is not a bad thing, but I really do it for the stories of the people that are successful using my stuff. That makes me so happy. Hearing your story, I live
Mhm.
for that. That's what I live for.
Yeah.
Let's see if your stuff is lucky for me tomorrow morning.
Well,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
in
I
my
hope it.
bag. My bag. It's in the truck ready to go. I always got your stuff with me.
Yeah.
Um, it's just incredible. It's incredible to hear your story and you finally telling us all this. And we respect the
Yeah.
hell out of you.
Wow, and I appreciate every single person that gives it a shot. I really do. I think that most people that try it are pleasantly surprised at the results they get, or the even if somebody puts a little bit of scent under their boot and walks in or does a drag, the first
I
time
do
they
that.
watch a deer hit a drag line and follow it like a hound, they are blown away. They've never seen anything. And the wind could be off, the wind could be wrong. When that buck or doe is gets on a scent, it's more so a buck than a doe. When a buck gets on a scent trail and he follows it like that, they
He's
are
focusing
destined
else.
for that final spot.
Yep.
Right.
100%. Every time I get out of the truck before I walk out through the field, spray down the boots and walk out. My dad, now
Yes.
he gets a little wild. He gets a whole big old rope and he'll tie it to his leg. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's just dumping the stuff on there and dragging it out there. But it's so strong and
Yeah.
such a good product. I'm like, just a couple squirts will work. I promise you.
It's like watching that king salmon go after that line.
Right.
You're like, let's
Yes.
go. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Now, have you guys been seeing anything good over there in New Jersey?
Yeah, I mean, we got a good it's interesting because I want to just kind of compare a little bit of the Michigan stuff to the Jersey stuff. Not really the animal itself, but like some of the rules and regs. But as far as the animals go, New Jersey, believe it or not, has and when I say believe it or not, we get a bad rap. Everybody thinks it's refineries and airports and highways, but where I live, I'm about 15, 20 minutes from New York State and about 20 minutes from Pennsylvania. So I'm in the upper part of New Jersey, and we are loaded with we have farms everywhere. We have some plenty of ag up here. I mean, it's called a garden state for a reason. Yeah, we have some cities. There's no doubt about it. But as far as the quality of the bucks go, there are some big deer up here. There really is. Now, this is when we're going to get into the reason why I think that we see a lot less, I should say, the 150, 160 class deer, which we have here, okay, not as common as other places. And the reason why is because we are allowed to shoot 6 antlered deer a year.
You're
Yeah.
serious.
That's the reaction I get from everybody I tell. So,
I did not know that at all.
yes, if
I'm
you if
coming
you
to hunt
buy
with
your
you.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said, I'm coming to hunt with you. Let's get some
Well,
bear and deer.
the invitation's open. We'll get into the bear thing too. If you buy your hunting license and you buy your bow permit and you buy your muzzleloader permit, you end up right now you can shoot 6 bucks in New Jersey. The amount of does you can shoot is almost unlimited. It is unlimited in some zones, but in the zones that it's not unlimited, you still get 6 does per buck tag. So you could just
Mhm.
add the numbers up.
That's
So
insanity. And
so
I'm all
for
about
somebody
shooting
to
deer, but shooting 6 antlered, you're never gonna get big bucks ever.
there you go. There you go. So
That's crazy.
and most people don't have large private parcels of land here, but there's public land. Some people have some decent sized farms. There's not a lot of people with like where you are. When I'm in Ohio, if somebody has 1,000 acre farm, it's not unheard of. Here,
Yeah,
it's more like 150 acre, maybe 300 acre farms is kind of more common.
right.
So if a deer reaches 3 years old or 3.5 years old here during the season, that's kind of like, I mean, it's not really an old deer. We know it's not an old deer, but they're usually a nice 8 pointer by then or a smaller
Right.
10. They're usually getting shot by somebody. I mean, so they don't get a
Right.
chance to hit 6 years old. Really.
Yeah. And I got buddies actually up north by my cottage right now, and they own farms. He's got like 4,400 acres in Michigan. And so
Yeah.
Michigan, northern Michigan, I quit going up there years ago because the wrecks, not me or whatever. I kind of a trophy hunter, but I love the meat too. I shoot does and management properties and all this, but I like to shoot a big mature buck. You don't go up north and shoot a big mature buck. But lately, the last few years, that's all been changing in Michigan. I got buddies.
Right.
I actually just shared something to my dad earlier, not too far from our cottage. There's some big bucks being shot up there. And my buddy actually lives in West Branch where my cottage is, and his whole wall is full of these monsters. I'm like, holy hell, where'd you get these? He goes, West Branch. I go, there's no way. I'm serious. And you know, you usually go up there and you see the guys that are shooting little smaller bucks, whatever. Nothing against that at all. But I, as a trophy hunter myself, and you know, meat lover, that that wasn't my appetite. But now I'm starting to kick it around, going up north and hunting again because in Michigan, the tradition really is to go up to deer camp in northern Michigan. It really is. And I miss those days. So
Right.
I might kick it around and start doing some bow hunting up there. I'm not much of a gun hunter. Even during gun, I still use my bow and whatnot. What? You say the Ravens, a gun
No,
itself.
I'm just thinking you've seen me with a gun.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
be in trouble
Oh yeah.
in a
But
good way. In a
I
good way.
wanted to switch back to full blown compound this year. Actually, Ted got me a Matthews bow last year for Christmas because you know, we were talking about it. It was very nice of them to do. I never got the chance with the business. And it's just so busy to even get it to Shoepox Archery in Jackson, Michigan, to have it all set up and ready to go for me and get that practice in. So I don't want to go out in the woods with a bow that I'm not even familiar with during the season. So probably next season I'll go back to the compound. But the Ravens are great, you know.
We'll we'll make it a
Yeah.
contest.
Okay. I'm down.
And you got to put you got to, listen, the truth of the matter is with the compounds, you got to put a lot of practice time in to be
Exactly.
efficient with it. It's the
Yes.
right thing to do. And some people don't have the time. I mean, some people don't have the ability. Some people don't have the time.
Was a compound bow hunter, and I switched when they made it legal in Michigan, and you know it worked out very good for me and everything. But then I started getting into it, and I want to go back to that tradition of the Fred Bear, everything. You know, after we unveiled the Fred Bear statue with Ted and Toby and all those guys last year up in Grayling, Michigan. You really felt that sense. And when I went out bear hunting out east, pretty close to you, we went to an archery shop and I was looking at all the bows and all that. The problem is, man, they are expensive. And that's why I had that talk with Ted. And I was very blessed that he got me one for Christmas and all the stuff for it. But having time to
Right.
actually do it, a lot of people don't understand owning a business and this and that. Time, it's literally gone. It's literally gone. I'm lucky to make it to the
Oh yeah.
woods.
I mean, you can buy this
Yeah.
expensive bow, but if you don't practice with it, it's worthless.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go out there and injure and wound an animal because I wanted to shoot a compound bow. My Raven, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm an assassin with.
And you know what? I'm sure I saw the results. And growing up, I was more, I was bird hunter and rabbit, and it's funny because and we were deer hunters. But, I'll speak for myself. As a young guy, but with the compound, I struggled to get good with it. And when they made the crossbows legal in Jersey, a friend of mine he actually owned the bow shop. He had owned the bow shop. He said, "Oh, listen, you should try out this thing called an Excalibur." I had no idea what he was talking about. So I bought my first Excalibur like around 2008, I guess, or seven, somewhere around there. And it gave me the ability to get out in the woods. I did a little practice, and it made it where I could get out. I was busy. I was working all the time, and so the whole crossbow thing that some people have issues with, I don't agree with any of that. I think whatever gets people in the woods, God bless them.
That's the
We need
main
more
thing.
people in the woods.
Yeah, and I got buddies who I introduced to the hunting world that they start off with a crossbow, you know, because they're not good with a compound, but they love just being in that tree stand and being out there and being around the guys, the girls, everything, you know, the whole thing about hunting. And then eventually, as they
Yes.
get more into it, maybe year two, three, maybe even the first year, they go and buy a compound and switch over. It's not
Yes.
the whole, it's a very touchy subject when you start getting into the crossbow or the compound.
Well, at the end of the day, everyone is different
Yeah.
and different things work for different people. So there's no reason to
Yeah,
Right.
I don't knock anybody.
dismiss.
Exactly. Don't knock somebody for using a crossbow. Don't knock them
No.
for using compound. You're not better. Nobody's better. You shoot a spike, you shoot a 12 point or a 15 point. It don't matter as long as you're out in the woods and having a good time. That's all I care about.
Right. I agree. I'll give you an example. My son, my son's in the stand with me as probably like around 6, 7. He was in the stand. We even tested out some cold weather sits with him, and then he gets to the age where he can get his license. So my two daughters and my son, they all go as young kids. I think my son was 10. My daughters were 12 and 14. They all go out. They get their bow license. They get their gun license. My girls haven't hunted yet with the bow, but my son hunts a lot with me, and I started him out with the crossbow. Then as he got older, he wanted a compound, so we got him a compound bow. He shot his first buck with a compound. The first two that he has on the wall, he shot with a crossbow. So it's funny, now he went out and bought a stick bow, so now he's shooting a stick bow. So his goal for this year is to put down his first deer with the
Wow.
stick bow. So he's exactly what you said, Troy, and exactly what Aaron said. Different strokes for different people, and who knows which way they're going to go. And that's the route he's taken, and I back him no matter what he
And that's
does.
awesome. You know, and a lot of guys I've heard they're compound and they might go, like you said, crossbow or vice versa, whatever. But then all of a sudden they go, well, I want to go buy a recurve because Fred Bear, this guy or that guy, or that girl, whatever, you know, um,
I'm
whatever
so
you want to do.
offended.
Well, you know, in today's world, but you know, I think whatever gets you in the woods is incredible. So, and challenge yourself.
Yeah,
Like I said,
I agree.
if I went out in the woods right now, I got a Fred Bear recurve right here to my left. And
Right.
if I went out in the woods, I'd miss a deer in a heartbeat.
I'd
But I
probably
would like to
yeah.
try it because that's actually my
Uh,
uncle's bow, who passed away, my older
Yeah.
brother. My dad took that to Fred Bear days and was fortunate enough to be able to do the salute to Fred Bear. And I was too that time. So there's guys up there at Fred Bear days, like there you have to put in like a lottery to even shoot the salute. And I go, Dad, I'd be
Right.
too nervous if I won. Like, take my ticket. And we switched tickets. We both got into it. So he used his older brother's bow that passed away to shoot the Fred Bear arrow, which is sitting in here right now. So it's very cool.
I'd be like, "Hey, Dad."
Yeah. And
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
I look like that kid that buys, you know, the little lick it and shoot the arrow and stick it to a window. I'd
yeah.
screw up really bad.
Yeah.
We watched Fred
And I'm with my thumb, I'm pointing at you see my grizzly behind
Oh
me?
yeah.
That's my
Bear.
bear grizzly. Now, I've
Oh,
never
the beagle?
I haven't killed a deer with it because I'm not good enough with it yet. Right now I'm struggling with it because of my shoulder, but that's gonna put a deer down eventually.
Right.
I just gotta get efficient with it.
Right. And you're smart for not going in the woods and making a terrible shot on an animal and wounding it. And you know, that's unethical.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, absolutely. I don't wanna do that. The only time that happens to people and it happens to me, but those are things that something happens that it's a mistake or a bad shot that happens. But to go out knowing that I got to go out confident that I'm going to be able to take that animal cleanly, otherwise I'm
Yeah.
not taking that
That's
bow with
part
me.
of good husbandry
Yeah,
is knowing what you can do and how
Yeah.
you can apply whatever you're shooting. So,
Yeah. Especially when it comes to
right.
killing an animal. You know, you need to be the best at that you can be before you go out there and just shoot something. If I'm not comfortable with it,
Yes,
I'm not doing it.
right. Now, Aaron and Troy, Michigan is a 1 buck state. Is that
2 bucks.
correct? 2 bucks.
2
Okay.
bucks.
And are you able to? Can you take them with whatever weapon? So you could shoot one with the bow, one with the gun, or is it
So you have your archery season, which is a crossbow or a compound. And then firearm season is November 15th, and it's for 2 weeks long. But then you go into muzzleloader season. But now Michigan's so weird because now you can use a shotgun during muzzleloader season. So why is it really called muzzleloader season?
but it also depends on where you're at within
Mm,
the state of Michigan.
Yeah, it's very tricky.
right?
But when you shoot a buck, when you buy your tags, you get two, buck tags. One has to have 4 or more points on one side when you tag it, or the other one's just
Okay.
whatever points.
Okay. So can you shoot both with the bow?
As in, if I use my bow during gun season, yes.
You could, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like
Okay.
opening day is the only
Okay.
day I use a shotgun out of tradition, and then I will switch to my
Right.
bow.
Yeah. Where my
Or
plan
Okay.
is for a bow. I mean, you've seen me with a
Mhm.
gun. A crossbow for me is a little bit more challenging, and that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So,
And if you want to shoot a doe, you can actually use your buck tag for a doe. Maybe late season, you're not going to shoot, last day of the night, you're not going to see another
Right.
buck or something like that. You can use that as a doe
yep.
tag. But I think, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's 10 doe tags you can buy in Michigan. Is that?
Let's check the
Yeah,
website.
I believe it's 10 doe tags you can buy in Michigan.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, I got 3.
So So just to contrast a couple things, like Michigan, you said now you can use a shotgun during muzzleloader.
Yes.
In New Jersey, you can use a shotgun during shotgun week. You could use a muzzleloader if you want, but during muzzleloader days, you can't use a shotgun.
Sure.
It's the exact opposite, which is, I find it interesting because these all the DNRs. It's funny how different everything is, and
Yeah.
Right,
you
yes.
know,
But why would you even call it a muzzle loader season if I can use a shotgun? Just keep the firearm season just going. Like, I
yeah.
think this only a
I
year
mean,
or two ago when this just happened. Like, I'm like, my dad said something and he goes, "Oh, you can use shotgun." I go, "Well, it's a muzzle loader." He goes, "You can use it there." So why is it called muzzle loader? It you
yeah,
know, I
yeah.
don't make the rules. And
I don't know the laws in every state. I only worry about where I'm hunting. So if I go on a trip somewhere, I obviously I'll study the rules and regs there. But
right,
Michigan, I haven't hunted in Michigan, so I really. But through all the customers I meet, the funny thing is when I say we can shoot $6, I saw the reaction on your faces, and I see that every time, and I don't blame you. I mean, so we have some people who will fill a tag because they paid for it. So we get let's see, we get two for shotgun, we get an early season and a late. So we get 4 buck tags when you buy a license. If you buy a all around sportsman's license, you get 4 buck tags. One is for an early season bow, one is for late season bow. That's two, and then you get two for shotgun. So there's your four. Then you go and buy a permit bow tag, which basically is from about Halloween through December 31st. That's another buck. That's
I
5.
got
And then you can buy a muzzleloader tag, which will give you
right,
6 if you want to fill. So we have some people who will shoot $6 regardless. They don't care how big or
right,
small they are. And
right.
whatever, that's their
Yeah,
prerogative.
that's I guess that's their right to do so. And a lot of people in
Yeah,
Michigan, so they don't even hunt archery. They go to Northern Michigan deer camp and say, but deer camp, beer camp is what they do, and that's awesome. That is what they look forward to every year. They work their ass off, and they go up to that camp up north, and they might shoot 1 buck, and then they're done, or one doe. They're done for the year. That's it. Opening week tradition,
right.
and that's fine. But I mean, I like the 2 buck tag in Michigan. I do. A lot of guys will argue that. I'm sure they're going to after this, but I like to hunt. I have plenty of mature
Mhm.
bucks on my property that I can shoot and use 2 tags. They complain that, well, the bucks are so small. I go, well, I mean, maybe you didn't manage your property correctly. I don't know the situation, so I don't want to get into that. But I'm blessed with our property, the way we've managed them to harvest big bucks every time with 2 tags, and then we're done.
Yeah, I kind of like the way you guys have it set up there in Michigan. I think I mean, New Jersey will probably never change. New Jersey is never going to turn into a trophy buck state by putting antler restrictions. I highly doubt going down to 2 bucks or even 3, I doubt that's ever happening here. I don't think it's changing, but it is what it is. I'm fine with it. I
Right?
mean,
Nothing
I
to
got to
do.
tell you, I'm not one of these guys, and I'm starting to change a little bit. But I have a lot of friends, and I know a lot of people in our state where there's guys that will only shoot big deer, big bucks, and they work their ass off to find
Yep.
them, and they work their ass off to get them. And it's actually a lot harder in a state like New Jersey to track down that big 4.5-year-old or older buck with, let's just say a 140 plus class buck. It's hard in New Jersey because you got guys that can shoot $6, and a lot of guys are shooting 2.5-year-olds, so these guys that work that hard, I give them a lot of credit. I don't really work that hard,
Mhm.
but as I get older, I'm starting to kind of lean that way. I'd rather work hard because I enjoy being out in the woods and being an outdoorsman and a
Right.
woodsman more than just shooting a
And
deer.
just being out there in the
That's just how things
saying.
change.
I mean, it's incredible. Like the other night when I shot that buck, my dad wasn't that far from me. He goes, "Dude, a mink just came right past me." And I see the turkey, I see this, I see a bald eagle, I see that, and coyotes and bobcat and porcupine, and that's more to me that's what makes it hunting. It's fun.
I
It's
mean,
cool to see that stuff.
Right.
even just scouting. So I
Yeah.
have 5.5-year-old twins, and we're out and we call them bear hunts, but we go in and we look for tracks, and that's something I remember doing with my parents, and that's something that even now, I'm sure when I get home, they're gonna ask if we can go on a bear hunt, and we're looking for tracks, and we're seeing where they're moving, and
Yep.
so
Yeah.
And I shot a nice bear out
Aaron,
by
you
you. Oh, go ahead with Aaron. Go ahead with her.
Aaron, you grew up in Florida?
so I'm a military brat, so I grew up in Pensacola, Florida, and, near Bossier City, Louisiana.
Did you and you got into hunting from the Florida days?
So my stepdad was an avid outdoorsman. I grew up watching the Fred Bear VHS tapes with him.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what we did, and making
Nice.
arrows. So for as long as I remember, we were trekking through the woods. So and there we had a deer camp in Bradley, Arkansas. For as long as I remember, I mean, punishment for us was plucking wild turkey by hand.
Yeah. That's great.
Yep.
Good. And now you live in Michigan, obviously, so the tradition
I
continues
do,
there.
and my dad lives in Mississippi, and he is or my stepdad lives in Mississippi, and he's so jealous, and he's like, "I'm coming out there for deer season. I'm coming out there for Fred Bear Day," which is March 5th, and he's very proud of what I do here and
Hmm.
seeing that I'm out in the woods, and I think that his child is doing the things that I've always loved doing
Yeah.
and instilling that in my kids.
Yep.
So my kids look forward to seeing
Yeah.
what's on our
Just keeps passing on
our
and
our
passing on.
cameras, and I mean, you've met my kids.
Oh,
They're and we're outside all the time. So, yep.
Great stuff. Love it. The two of yous might have to come and get a New Jersey Bear out of here one year.
well,
You don't have to twist my arm,
yeah, don't
Steve.
do that to me because I'm waiting on my full body bear mount to come back from out east by you. I shot my first bear last year at our buddy Joe Robert.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it not the biggest one or whatever. That whole thing of judging a bear is the truth. That was my first time bear hunting. That is very hard to do. Was the
Yeah.
size of one. But the first one that came in had two cubs. That's how she was huge. And then we waited and a different one came in. But it's just an incredible thing out there in New York and everything.
You know what's
We
better than one bear?
two bears.
Two bears.
Yeah, yeah. And
Two
what a
bears.
different rush you get too and all this stuff. Just seeing them actually coming in the wild.
Did you guys run dogs?
No, nope, sat in a blind and they came down the mountain and it was cooler than hell. But here in Michigan, I've always wanted a Michigan bear. And Michigan bear are really the population of them is, getting very big. And you have to put in for the lottery
May
and
1st.
May 1st, yep. And I've been putting in for 16 years, I believe now, and I've still not drawn a tag,
Yeah.
So I put in that and for Michigan elk.
So you shot your bear, wasn't in
No,
Michigan?
no, in New York.
Oh, you shot it in
New
New York?
York, yeah, to where I could drive out there, drive to the Walmart. I could get, and I don't know if things have
Yeah.
changed. Walk in a Walmart, out of state resident, get a bear tag, which included your turkey and a whitetail buck, and it was $104. Actually, we're on the way to the Walmart.
Yep.
And I go, what's this lady doing on the side of the road? She had hit a bear right there in New York.
Okay.
And our buddy owns property out there. And so
Okay.
that's where I got it.
Gotcha. Yeah, where I live here in Sussex County, we are in the hotbed of black bear in the state of New Jersey, and when I tell you we are loaded with them, we are loaded with them. They estimate 3,500 to 4,000 bear roughly in the whole state of New Jersey. But the one thing they don't really, I mean, people in New Jersey know this. That number, which is a pretty big number, is really almost all in Sussex County, and then a couple of counties around us, they'll stretch out a little bit. But when you look at the tallies at the end of the season, almost all the bears are shot in New Jersey, or I'm sorry, in Sussex County where I live.
Right.
And the town I live in, we are loaded with
Tell
bears
your
here.
wife I'm coming to hunt, but I'll also cook food.
Perfect.
When I
You're
was
in.
out there shooting hunting my bear, I saw it was New Jersey. A guy got don't quote me, was it 800 or 750? Maybe a state record. It was the same time I
Yep.
was out.
We have So I'll give you just a quick little overview of New Jersey and how it is. So the bear hunt, when it got up and running quite a few years ago, around somewhere around '09. They reinstated it for like 2 years, then it stopped. Then it got back, then it got going again. It's been going pretty steady. We had one little interruption due to our governor catering to the anti-hunters, but we're back up and running now. But here's the point I want to make. Most people in first of all, it's $2. If you live in New Jersey, the tag is $2. That's the price of the tag. But what's been happening in New Jersey is when they got the bear hunt going again, a lot of people went out and got a bear, and then they wanted a big bear. Well, in New Jersey, it's not out of the normal to see multiple 5, 600, 700 pound. When you hit the sevens, it's not usually multiple. My friend Brian shot one this year. I think it was 777
Holy hell.
dressed. So you're looking at a 900-pound live bear. But the 500-pound bear are what pretty much the guys who shoot multiple bears, like they've been at it for year after year after year. Those guys are targeting the 500 and 600 pound bear, and they're out there. And I was talking to my buddies today. They got like 7 guys, and I think 4 or 5 of them are on 500+ pound
That's
bear. That's their targets for this year. So they are here. Yeah, the record is I don't want to say the skull size. I was just talking about this, but we have multiple 600, 700 pound bears.
my.
And some of those weights are dressed weights.
Now, let me ask you this. As a Michigander, how hard is it for me to get a tag in New Jersey?
I think it's as easy as you paying for it.
Oh, just like what I did when I went to New York. Just walked in, gave my ID at the Walmart and bought a tag.
Yeah, there's no lottery or anything.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing.
I got to come out there and see.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'll give you an example. Like for me, I shot a bear, got a bear on my wall, okay, and it was a ton of work. It's a ton of work. It was fun, ton of work, really cool mount, expensive. I see so many bears every time, every day. Not only during hunting season, every day they're through the backyards, everywhere. They're all over. And when we're hunting, they're almost a nuisance because if we shoot a deer, I've lost myself probably 4 deer to where when I tracked the deer, the bear was already on the deer, and the bear won because I had a bow, and that's all I had was a bow. So I walk away, So my point is that like somebody like yourself or Aaron, if you ever want to come and shoot a bear, I would be happier to help somebody like yourself. I would do the work to get it all set up. We're allowed to bait the bears. So I would put the work in knowing if you guys were coming out to hunt a bear and try to get you on a bear. So you got an early season, which starts next Monday. And I believe I think you get 3 days with the bow, and then it turns into muzzle loader. I'm not sure if you could use the bow the whole time. I think you can. And then in December, you have a segment B where you can go after them with the muzzle loader or the shotgun.
I got you.
But most of the bear will get shot next week.
I would love to come out there and do that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, to think that those
Okay.
bears are the size of my cattle. I mean, dress weight. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of big boys running around in the state, and that's on public land as well as private. Because the amount of roaming the bears do, they're not staying on private land. They're all hitting public land at one point or another.
Right.
Traveling through. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, that surprised me, and maybe some people call me dumb or uneducated. I went down to Daytona Bike Week a couple years ago, took my Harley down, and when we got into Florida, I'm driving, I'm like, bear crossing signs. I didn't even know there was at that time that there were bear in Florida. Didn't know they were crazy like that. A lot of people I speak to, you think they're up in Canada and northern up here. I was a learning experience on the bear, so I'm just getting into all that stuff.
There's also Black Panther.
Yeah, well, I know that.
Yeah.
But the bear crossing, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and I think this year is the first year they opened up. I don't know if it's ever or it's the first year in a long time they're opening up the bear season in Florida.
Yes, I think Ron DeSantis or somebody had something to do with that. And don't quote me on that. But I did hear something about.
Yeah, so most people that go up to Canada and shoot bear, there's not a lot of guys that are shooting 100+ pound black bear in Canada. So in New Jersey though, there's quite a few people shooting 600-pound bear. So they're not all that big. They're not all that big, and the state would like you to shoot all sizes. The regulations have changed a little bit, but if you're interested in getting a bear, I would say your opportunities are much are just as good in New Jersey as anywhere, and better for a bigger bear than most
Right.
places.
And that's why I'd love to come out and do that.
Good. Well, we'll
It
have to work that
season,
out.
whatever, obviously we get deer season just kicked off here in Michigan. We're swamped, but I would love to set something up for next year, come out and do that. It'd be an awesome, bring dad or, and all that.
I'd be there.
And allowed.
Yeah,
No,
Shut the fuck up.
in the
bring
bigger
it.
bear.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah,
out
no,
because he knows that I will shoot the bigger bear.
It's a good possibility.
bigger one. Yeah. Well, everybody's welcome. I'll tell you the truth. As a resident of New Jersey, I welcome people to come to the state, enjoy the state, go after the bear. I mean, I personally would love to see the numbers of bears come down. Me though, for me, it's if I'm not going to eat it, if I'm not going to utilize the meat, I'm not really going after it. So, I haven't made a decision for next week. I've never shot a bear with the bow, with the crossbow. If I do go next week, that's what I'll do. So I'd be looking at a 20-yard or under
Yeah.
shot. So that's nice and up close and personal.
Yeah, that was me out there when I was hunting. I had the bear climbing up, almost coming into the window. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I use the bow out that way too. Crossbow.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Good stuff. Well, before we wrap it up, I want to just I want you guys just can you give us a little first of all, I want you to give us a little info on the Michigan Deer Hunter page. You mentioned Dale before. A little bit of info about that page because I think anybody's welcome to see it. But then the other thing I want you to mention before we wrap this up, I don't think people realize because you spoke about the buck pole, okay, the Michigan buck pole. I think I'll tell you what, I think people in New Jersey, they have no idea the tradition and what goes on. I am enamored by that. I follow. So Shootback, you mentioned Shootback Archery. Shootback Archery carries Ted's products, his deer lore and stuff. They'll have it there. But I've been to Ted's property and I've stopped to check out where the buck pole was and all because
Isn't
that's like historic stuff. So can you just touch on the Michigan Deer Hunter Facebook page and then the buck pole a little
So,
bit?
the Michigan Deer Hunter page it was started by Dale, and it was mostly for just average Joes and Janes, hunters of Michigan. And what you'll see a lot of on the page is we are promoting hunters, and no matter whether you're a first time hunter or you're a seasoned hunter, we like to share traditions and stories and just to know what you have within your family. Um,
And it's no like big name sponsors. It's no nothing.
Mm.
It is literally just normal people. That's the whole point of it.
Dale
Normal
and I
people. Yeah.
Dale and I run the
Everybody.
page,
And
and
and just getting out there and hearing the stories, and all that stuff.
getting our youth out there and getting more women out there.
Yep.
Along with, I mean, we just had some newer, older gentlemen that have just started hunting, and they didn't feel proud of, the rack size, but what they don't know is that we're proud that they just got out there.
Yeah.
They did the damn thing.
And it has nothing to do with the rack size.
Right. So,
And then
Nice.
the buck hole that's
Very
been
cool.
going on. I forgot how many years it is now. I should know this after I just was with Brett the other day and Dale and all of us. I think it's 19 years or
yeah,
20 years.
it's an amazing.
They literally shut the road down with police. It's the world's biggest buck hole. And they got, so no matter what, whatever you shoot a spike, anything, as long as it gets hung up, you're entered to win the prizes. And then they have the big buck contest, which is a separate poll for those ones. And then, my dad does all the scoring. He does the rough scoring. It's not going to be perfect. He's out there in the rain, the snow, this and that. But sometimes he gets some guys that are like, oh, no, it's way bigger than that. And this and that. He's like, dude, then do it yourself. It's just a rough score. We're out there having fun. But it's amazing.
There's
November 15th.
families,
Oh,
yeah, there's families that have been doing it for going to it for generations, and
sometimes you got to park your vehicle
Yeah.
midday and then take a separate vehicle to leave just so you have a parking spot. If not, you're
Oh,
lined up down US
yeah.
12 in Jerome there. It's insane. And it's just so much fun. You see people from last year or people that people from Metro Detroit where I grew up that show up there. and they do all the processing there. If you want to have your deer processed there, they do taxidermy there. I mean, it's so incredible. Oh, so we get out of the
Very
woods
cool.
opening morning of firearm, November 15th. I'm like, all right. Well, everyone's like, oh, you want to get breakfast? I said, hell no, we're going to Jerome's, dude. I gotta see what's going on up there real quick.
Yeah.
We'll stop and get lunch, and then you're back to the woods and right back. So it's awesome.
It's cool. And I think does the Michigan Facebook page, did they go live
Yeah, we're gonna be going
at
live
the buck poll?
there. Actually, I'm putting in more time, and Aaron's gonna be there. We're all gonna be doing that. Last year, I had some friends come out from Detroit area, so I was kind of more concerned on getting them a spot to hunt and all that. This year, I don't have anybody coming out, so I want to get out of the woods after the opener, get there, help Dale, Aaron, my dad, Brett, everybody at Jerome's a lot more. So we're gonna be going live and meeting people and hearing kids' stories and really putting more dedication into it this year.
Yep, we're hoping to a lot more
Cool.
I don't know
filming.
if Brett's gonna like it though, because
I'll
they're already so big.
I'm bringing my drone, and I'll be out there interviewing people and more. I mean, I do more of the behind the scene thing for Michigan Deer Hunter, but just kind of getting everyone's story and their field report and what they were feeling during that time and when they got, you
Mhm.
know, whether it's the buck or the doe and the kids, because obviously I'm a mom, so I love to hear their stories and see their excitement.
Yeah, and Steve, you're gonna have to come out sometime and check this out because it's wild. And we're not here
Yes.
just to promote Jerome Country Market's buck pole in the state of Michigan. Whatever buck pole you can get to, that's the main thing. Get the kids there, whether it's, a lot of these places I've stopped at, northern Michigan, smaller towns, they got one behind the bar, they got one behind the gas station. There might be 3 or 4 bucks, but that is a tradition around Michigan. The tradition in Michigan is so big, it's like a national holiday in Michigan, the opener of the firearm season. A lot of guys save their entire work season to take off those days. I'm going up north to deer camp, or I'm coming out the hills, I'll going west instead of north, or anywhere. It's just so much fun.
Yep, and I'm setting Dale up so
Yeah.
that he on opening day, he's going out to our property or my property, and he's gonna sit there and just chill for a minute, and he can hunt. I've been sending him all the I mean, my trail cam's been blowing up, which I expected with this
Yeah.
weather shift, but
God, what a good guy Dale is. I
he's
mean,
a
he's got to be the nicest guy other than myself. No, I'm just kidding.
shut up.
He's the greatest guy. He's got such passion for it, and he respects the hell out of all this stuff. And what he's doing in
Yeah.
Michigan right now, he's we've always had Michigan Outdoors, and they're great and all that, and we respect Michigan Outdoors. But Dale just starting as a normal guy making a Facebook page, and the way he's taken off and we're very blessed that he's invited us into it. He might be the new biggest thing in Michigan, for years
Don't
to go
say
on.
that, it'll go to his head.
Well, I know, but he needs some
I only know him a little bit. I just recently got to know him through you guys, really, and he's just a super guy. From what I mean, we've had conversations. I'm even involved in a giveaway that he's doing because he's like the kind of guy when he says he's doing something like that, like I was like, how can I get in? I just want to help you because he's that kind of guy that he rubs he comes off as such a genuine character because he
He
really is that you just want to be involved with him. So I'm happy to do
he's a
something.
very Christian man, and I feel like he shows that within all the work that he does, and he makes sure that you feel valued and important, no matter whether you're a seasoned hunter or you're a beginner hunter.
And it was very funny how that all got connected too. So we were with Ted, and Ted was doing a show at Sterling Heights at Freedom Hill in Detroit. And my dad, we kind of stand off to the side of the stage while Ted's performing, and saw Dale and knew who he was and messaged him on Facebook. Hey, I saw you in the crowd the other night, whatever. Well, Dale blew it off like my dad was just some Joe Schmo on Facebook, that he was
Yeah.
lying. Well, he is a Joe Schmo on Facebook, but my dad's the nicest guy on the planet. They ended up linking up and, started inviting us here, there. And it turned into a snowball effect. And it's been incredible. Now I think of Dale as family and the whole crew and everyone invited me to meet and all that and the same. And it's just, it's an incredible thing.
Well, you're all good people and it's contagious, and that's why you're all kind of getting together and getting to know each other. It's good folks, they blend together real
And you couldn't have
nice.
said that any better.
So it's
I mean, my job is to harass
yeah,
every one
it's
of
true.
them. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep them on their toes.
Right. Right. So, but we'll stay in touch.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's time for me to go to dinner and
Yeah.
everything.
Yes. Okay. So just want to thank both
Thank
of you.
you.
Really appreciate your time coming on here and giving us a little insight into the whole Michigan thing. I mean, the tradition, obviously, as you stated so well, and Aaron as well, it's such an important part of the whole thing, that everything that we do, really what matters is the tradition, carrying it on, and the friendships that we make along the way. And you guys embody all of that. So I thank you so much for
And
sharing
we
it with
thank
us.
you, and for doing that out in the East Coast too, and everything. It's a whole United States
Yeah.
thing, and beyond.
Yes, we can. You can
Anywhere,
go.
hunting's huge.
Yeah, we all know you could walk into a place in any state, if you're traveling or what, with your hat on or your hunting shirt on, and you'll get somebody that'll come up to you and talk to you about hunting, because we all fit into the same
Y-
mold.
Yeah, and
It's
then you're
great.
And
45 minutes late to where you were going because you're
uh,
telling stories.
I was I was at a
Always.
poultry show this past weekend. We breed and show exhibition poultry, and someone came up to me and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're from Michigan Deer Hunter," and I'm like, "Yeah,
It's
that's
cool.
me."
Yeah,
And then
This,
we got to talking
yeah,
and looking at trail cam
good
footage, yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
We,
good
we
stuff. All right, everyone. We'll say goodnight to you. Great talking to you. We'll obviously keep in touch, and maybe we'll have you on here again. Maybe when Aaron puts a buck down this year, we get to see it. And any photos you two want to send me, I'll throw them up on here for
bless
everybody
you,
to
and
enjoy.
vice versa too.
Okay. All right. Good
Good
night.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you.
night. Thanks, Steve.
At this time, we'd like to thank our supporters and sponsors: Signal 11 Lures, Lip Glue, New Jersey Multi-Species Podcast, Sever Broadheads, Jersey Fluke Bellies, Favorite Fishing Rods, Timberlife Outdoors, and Buck Knives. If you enjoy the content on our podcast, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And please tune back in for our next episode. Thank you.